Welcome everyone. This is my very first video on my channel Web Device. In this channel, we are going to talk about the web technologies, the quirks of the web technologies, and we are going to build simple projects together to solve our day-to-day problems. Please subscribe my channel. If this video gets 100 views, I'll select a random subscriber and for a special gift. Let's jump right into it. In this video, we are going to build a simple web page which has got two functionalities, dark mode and light mode. In this web page, we have got multiple features like the nav bar on the top, the footer at the bottom, and at last we have got the theme toggle. You can go into light mode and dark mode by this theme toggle. And all of this is completely beginner friendly. You need not to know anything apart from the basic JavaScript functionalities. The technology we are going to use is the Next.js, Tailwind CSS for styling, and next theme is for theme toggles. What we are going to do throughout this video, there are multiple steps which we are going to do together. The very first step is we are going to install the Next.js 13 with the latest app router. We'll configure our theme using the Tailwind CSS and global CSS. We'll build a simple navigation using the Next.js link component, which is provided by as part of the app router. And then we are going to utilize the Next theme, install that, and we are going to create a provider using the Next theme. And then how to use the theme toggle functionality. So let's jump right into it. Now I'm displaying a quick demo how the application looks like. We talked about it earlier. You can see this application is running on my local host. On the top, you can see the header section. You have got few links for different pages, about page, vision page, services page, and then you have got the main element of it, which is going to use the next theme functionality. If you click on this button, the theme changes from dark mode to light mode. And if you click back on this button, it changes it back to the dark theme. In the middle, you have got the body area where you can show your content, what exactly is going to appear to the users. And at the bottom, we have got a very nice little home section or the footer section. Apart from it, I've just simply created one more functionality for responsiveness. The moment we shrink down the size of the screen, this search within the navbar disappears. So to give you a flavor how Tailwind CSS works for the smaller screens, we are going to tell you how it is implemented. Let's jump right into the tutorial where we are going to start from the scratch. All right, to begin with, we'll start with the Next.js installation. To do that, let's jump into Next.js website. You'll get the very first link. And to install the Next.js, you just simply have to type this command as Next.js create next app at latest. So we have opened the VS Code on the left hand side, and on the right hand side I've got my browser. Under the file menu, we are going to open a folder where we are going to do our work. To do this, I've selected my desktop. I've created one folder here, Next Theme YouTube. I'm going to select this folder, and then I'm going to select the terminal option on the top, and I'm going to select the terminal option. To install the Next.js, I'm going to simply paste the command which I just copied, and I'm going to say dot backslash to install this app into the current directory. Next.js is going to ask us few questions. Would you like to install TypeScript? I'm going to say no. Would you like ESLint? Yes. Tailwind? Definitely yes. Source directory? Yes. App router? Yes. Would you like to customize default theme? No. And everything will be ready in some time. In the meantime, it is getting downloaded. Let's look at other Next.js Next theme installation. To install Next theme, what we have to go? We have to go into the Next themes page, and then we have got the command here, npm I next themes. Let's copy that, and in the same folder, I'm going to paste this command. So next theme is also installed. How to validate whether everything is installed or not? I'll go to package.json and I'll see next theme. Next is installed 13.4.7. Next theme is also installed here. Let's look at the file structure, what we have got here. We have got the source directory under which we have got the app router, and then we have got the layout page where our basic app layout is there, and we have got the page.js where the simple sample provided page from Next.js is provided. Let's try to run this, how exactly the page looks like, and then we'll try to modify it. To run this, we are going to say npm run dev, and it is going to run this entire server on HTTP localhost 3000. I'm going to copy this, or maybe command and click on this. As you can see on my localhost, the Next.js app is installed. To modify anything, firstly we have to understand the structure, how the Next.js apps are structured. Let me increase the size a bit. So the page.js is the actual data which you are going to see on the screen, and the layout.js defines the layout, how the page should appear. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a component tree within the system, how this component tree will look like. This is the body tag in which all the children are sitting. To create our app, what we are going to do, we are going to create a header first, or you can say the navbar. I'm just commenting it. We are going to create the components. I'm going to create a basic background. I'll create side blob, which is just a SVG. And at the end, I'm going to create a footer section. Let's try to create these three components. So where I'm going to create the components, under the app router, I'm going to create one more folder called components, and I'm going to create my first component, which is site header.js. I'm going to say RAFCE, which is nothing but the React functional component. I've created a React functional component, and let's create another component. I'll say one more file called site footer.js, and again RAFCE for your footer section. I'm going to remove it, save it. Let's see how we are going to import this into the layout section. I'm just simply going to type site header, and you can see on the top you have got the site header component created. I'm going to close this component, and then let's leave the side blob for a moment, and then we are going to import the site footer component. Make sure it is imported at the top, and now let's refresh this. Oh, sorry, I forgot to remove the content from this main section. Let me remove everything which is provided to us by default and say this is my main, or I can say h1 main content area. As you can see, on the top we have got the site header, we have got the main content area, and somewhere here we have got the site footer. Let's try to make it look nice by going into the global CSS. Let us remove everything which is provided to us by default. We are removing everything from here. Site got changed. And then we'll go into the Tailwind config as well. And we are going to remove everything from the extend function, which is still here. Now let's go back to our main section, and I'm going to remove the Tailwind classes as well. Oops. And there we go. We have got a basic site header, main content area, and site footer section. Let's try to align our content first, and then we'll get started how we want to align this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap my children component inside a div, and I'm going to say this entire body with a class name. Let's remove the provided class name, and we are going to apply some Tailwind classes. So first class I'm going to assign is flex, the direction is columns, and nothing should change. To align this div to get the children the maximum area, what we are going to do, I'm going to add one more class name called flex, and then flex1. If I save this now, you should be able to see up the height of the body should be screen. And then the moment I say height of the body should be screen, if you look at this, the main content area took the entire space of the site. To validate this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say bg blue 200, and you can see the main content area is taking up the entire site, and on the top we have got the site header, at the bottom we have got the site footer. So let's jump into the global CSS. I'm going to add few styles. To add the styles in Tailwind, what we are going to do, we are going to create two variables, the background variables and the root base layer. So to customize these Tailwind classes, what you can do, you can head to the tailwindcss.com, and we can go to the document section. Sorry, I clicked on the component section. In the document section, you can see how all these components are configured for yourself by Next.js and how you can customize each of the sections. So let's try to find how we can customize or theme. See, in this Tailwind config.js, we can extend the theme, we can extend the colors, we can extend the font family, and other things can be configured as well. So let's see how we can modify the background of our application. Let's go to the tailwind config.js, and I'm going to extend the background color functionality. I'm just going to give it a save, and let's see. Let's head back to our application. Nothing got changed because we have not selected anywhere the background. In my layout.js, if I select bg.background, Nothing changed yet. Let's see what could be the problem. If you hover over, you can see it is saying bg.background, background color is HSL variable background. And let's go back to our, okay. So nothing is going to change as we are just applying the basic background. If we apply the dark class, then only this background is going to get changed. So let's head back to, if you see this, the header and the footer section got a black background because we just added the dark class. But we are going to handle this dark class toggle with the help of next theme functionality. Let's go to the site header component. To do this, I'm just going to simply hold my command button and click on site header. We are returning a div here, so I'm going to say a header tag, and I'm going to add some basic text first. So this should be my logo, this should be my title, search area. I'm going to change everything, so just bear with me for a second. So this should be my about page, services page, and then last is vision page. At the end, we are going to add a theme toggle. I'm just trying to break up this entire thing into multiple pieces. Let's try to give some classes for each of the component. So first class I'm going to give is flex. Everything will be stretched together. Then I'm going to say justify between. I'm going to say yes. And now let's start clubbing these items. So the very first thing which I'm going to combine is these two. The next thing which I'm going to combine is these three. Okay. And then we are going to assign some classes to each of the area. The very first class which I am going to assign is flex gap 4, and for this div I'm going to assign class as flex gap 4 again. On the right hand side you can see everything is looking as expected. What I'm going to do, I'm going to assign some margin as well, mx of maybe 4, and I'm going to give the max width of 7 XL so that the content on the screen does not go beyond 7 XL when it is stretched. With the magic of editing, what I've done in the background, I've added two logos. These are two SVG logos, logo dark, logo white, light. Why I've got it two logos is because our site is going to toggle the themes, and to appear these logos in dark and light mode, we have to have two different logos. Let's try to get the first logo in. Since we are in the light mode right now, let's try to use the image tag. The source will be logo light mode .svg and try to see what could be the problem. Okay, we have not closed the tag. Let's save it. And here is our logo. The title which we are going to give is Web Dev Wise. Hit a save and it's quite big. Uh, I'm going to say font is going to be semi-bold and let's try to give some class name to width of 10. Everything looks fine and I'm going to say items center. If you look at this right now, it is standing on the top. What I want is these to appear in center. Or basically I should do this for everything. Item center. So everything should be aligned appropriately. And let's try to give a height of 20 so that it looks prettier. I'm going to say a border of bottom so that I see a 1 pixel border at the bottom. Border bottom width is 1 pixel. Hmm, interesting. Now, I'm going to leave the search area for a moment and then what I'm going to do, instead of theme toggle, I'm going to create one more component called theme toggle and let's create this component first, theme toggle.js. RAFC, there is a theme toggle. Say hit save and let's go to the site header and we have to import this. Hit save, nothing changes, but we have attached our theme toggle component here on the web page. Now to make this theme toggle work, firstly what we have to do, we have to create one more component. The component will be a theme provider component, which is going to wrap our entire application. This theme provider component will be coming from Next.js, Next themes, and we are going to use some React functionality as well, like use effect and let's get started. RAFCE, I'm adding one React functional component here. And then what we are going to do, we are going to pass this entire application as a props to it. What we are going to do, we are going to provide the theme provider. The attribute will be of class type and default theme which we are going to choose for this theme provider will be all based off the system. Okay. The last thing is enable system. We'll be setting it to true. Let's close this and what we are going to do, the children's which we are getting as part of the props, we are going to wrap everything under the theme provider. Looks like we have made some mistake here. Looks okay now. Few things which we are going to do in the next themes, since this is a client component, we have to wrap this entire thing as a use client file. So this becomes a client component and what we are going to do, we are going to check the mounted status to remove the hydration errors which we get during the page upload. So creating one component, creating a state called mounted, and I'm going to use the useEffect function to check the value of this mounted state. I'm going to create one functional component called set mounted, and I'm going to set this to true. So what this is going to do is it is going to wait for this effect to run before loading the state into the system. Let's jump back to the page component. I'm going not sure why I have opened this. Let me go back to the layout, and what we are going to do, we are going to wrap our body in this entire theme provider which we just did. So firstly, let's import our theme provider. Okay, so we have got our theme provider and we have got few errors here. Previous definition. Okay, so ideally I should have been, I'll rename this to providers because it is mismatching with my name of the theme providers. So I'll rename this as providers and providers, and let's go back to the layout.js. I'm going to remove this import, and there we are. Everything works. Now what we are going to do, we are going to wrap our body inside this providers. Nothing should change. Looks like I made a mistake. It should be within the body. Whatever the content we have got should be followed by this. Right now the current system theme is dark. That's why this entire thing has gone white. But in the background, we have got this text running. So let's try to remove this dark theme, for instance, and then we are going to work on the dark theme toggle. After creating the provider, you can see by default we have selected the system theme. That's why everything went white. The fonts are white now, and we have to see the theme toggle functionality. So to do that, let's go to our theme toggle, and what we have to do, we have to install one more icon package which is called as React Icons. We'll go to React Icons and I'm going to install by using this command. Let's go to terminal. I'm going to add one more terminal. Paste this, and we have got our icons installed. So let's start with importing few themes. So first thing is we have to import the use theme function provided by Next Themes, and we have to import two icons called fi sun and fi moon from the React icons we just installed. So I'll select React icons and fi. Let's try to create a button, and inside this button we are going to create assign fi moon and fi sun, sorry, sun as my two buttons. Okay, let's go back to our web page and see. Okay, so this should be the client component as well. Create context only words in client component. Okay, so the parent component site header should also be a client component, and everything gets tied back together. What I'm going to do to make it work, let me add the BG background, and I am going to go back to my layout. I'm going to assign the dark theme here for some time. Okay, so that we can see what are we working with. So you can see two icons are appearing here, dark and light mode. Let's try to style them a bit. In the theme toggle, we assign this button. So let's add a class name, flex, and item center. What we want is based on the theme selected by the user, this entire buttons, either moon or sun, should appear. So what we are going to do, we are going to cache the value of theme currently being set by next theme, and we'll utilize this value based on the what is wrong. Set theme and theme should be part of a use theme. My bad. I should have used destructured this. Perfect. So what we can do, we can catch the value of current theme from set by the next themes in this functionality. And what we can do, on click, we can toggle the themes between light and dark mode. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set theme. If the theme is equals to light mode, then I'm going to switch it back to dark theme. Otherwise, it will remain light theme. So once I click moon, it will change it back to the dark theme. Once I click sun, it will go back to the light theme. Now what we want is, we want this sun and moon icon to be displayed based on the theme which is currently present on the system. We can do this by this way. Tick box, I'm going to give some height and width to this. I'm going to add some transition to this, and I'm going to add one condition to this by using the dollar sign. The condition should be, if the theme is equals to light, then this element should be displayed as block, otherwise it should be hidden. So what this thing is going to do, it is going to apply classes based on the Selection criteria. I think I should be selecting curly braces here to make it work. Perfect. Let me give it a save. And then same thing we are going to apply on this moon icon. Let's copy this, give it a enter, save. Everything should work, but we have to switch from dark mode, light mode to dark mode. So now you can see themes are getting toggled. But why it is appearing as black? Because we have applied the class dark here. I'm going to remove it. Oh, something happened, which I'm not sure. Let's try to print the current theme value. So what we can do, console.log current theme value is theme. Let's try to refresh this. Go to inspect icon. Let's try to refresh this. Current theme value is dark. So it is working, but for some reason the icon is not appearing. So I found the error. I think we missed one major thing in our providers. We have to check whether the component is mounted or not. If the component is not mounted, then we have to return null. Once we do that, then we'll start seeing the sun and moon icon. And hurrah, it is working as expected. The themes are switching as we expected. Let's go and modify the site header now. We are going to do some styling on the images as well. Likewise, we did on the theme. So what we are going to do, we are going to import the same thing here. Import use theme from next themes, and then we are going to get the theme value from use theme, and we are going to dynamically assign the theme values on these image icons. Okay, so the very first thing which we are going to do, let me wrap this in the curly braces, and then let me add the theme variable. I'm going to check whether the current theme is dark. Then if the current theme is dark, then I'm going to say hidden, otherwise it will be block. And then same goes for the, I'll add one more image for the light version. I'll say logo dark, and if the current theme is light, then it should appear as is. Now you can see on the top you have got the logo appearing. If I switch the theme, the dark logo appears here. Perfect. Let's design this search area. I'll create a quick input field. So let me create a form component, and then inside this I'm going to create an input component. Let me give some ID here as search, name as search, type as search, and then autocomplete, I'll mark it off. Placeholder, I'll say search something here. I'll give the styling a bit. So I'll say H9, LG should be on the LG devices, it should be 300 pixels long, and the BG should be background. Oops, and close this, and there you go. You've got the search field here where you can search your content. At last, we have got our theme section, which is looking fine. I'll add some padding as well on this, and on the topmost section as well. I'll add some padding to make it look better. If you look at this, this is the search section is not appearing, is not going away. So what we are going to do, we are going to add a class name to make it hidden, and on the medium and arrow devices, it should be inline block. So if I go, it hides. If I go beyond medium size, it appears back. Perfect. Now everything is looking fine. Let me remove the size from here, and let's jump back to the page where we are storing our main content. What we are going to do, we are just going to style it a bit so that it looks better. Let me give some margin of auto, max width of 6 pixel maybe, and then padding of 6. Okay, and underneath it, I'm going to add a div with a class name just to make it look nicer. I'm doing all this thing, otherwise you can leave it behind. I'm going to add h1 and say homepage. I'm going to add a paragraph tag as well. Perfect landing page. Let's see how it is looking. Much better, much better. Let's try to give some style to h1 as well. I'll say text 4XL, extra bold, font extra bold, and give it a save. Perfect. And then let's give some styling here as well. PY of 4 and text maybe Excel, just to space them evenly. Looking nice so far. Looks nice. The theme toggle is working fine. Let's try to give some links to the about services and vision page. So what we are going to do in the app component, we are going to create new folder called about, one more folder for services, and one more folder for vision. Underneath it, all these folders, we are going to create one file called page.js, and this will be RAFCE functional components. I'm not going to do anything fancy here. I'm just going to copy this entire thing and paste it in the other folders so that we can just create a simple navigation. Okay, so I've got 3 pages. If I go here and I show you my about page, it looks like this page. The other routes are working, but how to link it together? So let me give it a style and then we'll start the navigation part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply the same thing. What's your vision? And I'm going to copy the same thing again, and I'm going to apply to the services page. Tell us more about your services, and then we are going to go into the about page. Paste the same thing, about page, about your company. Now let's try to do the same thing which we did earlier. About page, vision page, and then you've got the services page. Everything works. Now close these pages and let's jump to the components and go to site header. We have got 3 p tags here. What we are going to do, we are going to change these 3 p tags as the link components. Okay, to do that, I'm simply changing it to link component provided by next link. The linkage will be with about page. Change it to link as well. I'll add one link component or as well the linkage of this will be with services page, and then at last we are going to create one more link component and it will be linked to the vision page. If I hit a save, let's see whether the navigation changes or not. If I click about, it works. Services, vision, everything works as expected. Let's try to give this logo button as a link as well. So what we are going to do, in the image we have got the source, but what we can do, we can wrap this thing, this entire image around an anchor tag. Okay, so for example I can say anchor and the reference should be home. If I close this, cuts this, and then now whenever I click logo, it takes me back to the home page. Perfect. Everything is working as expected. The last thing which we are going to do is the site footer. Let us go very quickly into the site footer and let's try to style this a bit. I'm going to add a footer element and then I'm going to add some border to it. Okay, let's see. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a div with a class name of mx auto, max width of 7 XL, overflow hidden, px of 4, py of 10, and for smaller and upper devices it will be py of, we'll keep it 16, and larger devices will keep the padding as 6. Okay, close this div, nothing will change, but you will start seeing the footer section. I'm going to add a nav bar, navigational component here, and then I'm going to add some class names here as well. So the navigation will be margin from bottom 6. It will be 2 columns for the smaller devices. For bigger devices, it will be flex, and we are going to justify everything as center. And then I'm going to add just basic styling to it. Nothing changes. Come back to the navbar, and then what we can do, we can add multiple links to it. Okay, so one way is the way we added the links in our header section, but let's try to see the other approach. Okay, so what I can do, I can create a constant variable as site footer links and create a object here. Okay, the name I can give as home. The link of that home will be, I can copy this 5-6 times, and then I can change each of the section about the about page, services, and we are going to go to the services page. Oops. Let's go to the vision page. Some TNC terms and conditions, maybe, and we can use as ampersand, and I'm going to leave this link as no link, or maybe FAQ. So you can create as many pages as you like. Now what we can do, we can utilize this objects and map through it. So I'm going to do site footer links dot footer dot map, and I'm going to catch 2 items. So item and index, it will be a functional component to display all the objects here. The first thing is div. Inside this div, oops, inside this div, what we are going to do, we are going to present the link component by next link, and the href of that link will be item dot href, right? And then the text inside that link will be item dot name. Let's see if we see something. bg background, we don't see anything. So I got the reason now. This should be round bracket rather than the curly braces. Okay, and I'm going to remove this. Perfect. It looks awesome now. I'm going to assign a key value here as well so that we don't get error. Item.name should be sufficing the value and class name. Oops, what have I done? Class name, we can say bb6 just to give it more space. I'm going to add more to this. So I'm going to add a link component. Maybe you can add your company's title. I'm going to add my YouTube channel link here. So youtube.com/webdevwise100, something like this. And then let me save this. What I'm going to do now is, okay, let me add this after the nav bar. Perfect. And then I'm going to add the copyright text. New date, get full year, YouTube at 2023. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to assign this here so that it spaces out evenly, and I'm going to assign few classes to it as well. So let me give some classes here. Perfect. You have got the copyright here, and at the end you can add few more keywords if you like, up to you. Or maybe something like this. In the copyright, perfect. So everything is working as we expected. The theme is switching. We are able to see the responsiveness. The search item on the top goes away and everything looks fine. Add one cool side blob at the background. So what we are going to do, we are going to add one more component called side blob.js, and inside this JS I'm going to place a SVG file. So give me a second. I'm going to copy the code and then we'll talk in a second. So what I've done, I've added just a SVG file here as a side blob, and you're going to get this code in my GitHub repository. Let's go to the page.layout.js. If you remember, we added one side blob. Let's uncomment this and add our component here. Voila. So you can see the blob is appearing in the background. It appears on all the pages. It appears in the dark and light mode both, and it works amazingly well. So this was the tutorial. Thank you guys for joining in the video. Hope you like this kind of stuff. If you want to know more about the Next.js development or you have got any questions, please comment, please like, share and subscribe. If this video reaches 100 views, I'm going to do a special giveaway for any random subscriber. Thank you.